never gave me an answer. Am I the only one? I didn't know it was over. Take care of you. I didn't know it was over. Take care of you. Take care of you. I wrote you on and on. You never gave me an answer. Am I the only one? I didn't know it was over. Take care of you.
Hello, can everybody hear me? Mic check 1 2 3, making sure y'all can hear and see me on this wonderful New Year's Day. I think that's what we call it. New Year's Day. For me it's already one day after, but I'm so glad to be able to see all of you and have this amazing opportunity to chat with you guys about our brand new life control system. It's been a long time in the works because obviously, as many of you guys may know, the life control system, L-Control, which stands for, was called the Super Package previously, and essentially it was meant to integrate the best of how to be intentional in your planning and making yourself organized, finding your purpose, as well as making it incredibly enjoyable and interesting to do all the tasks that you have to do to get to the outcomes that you want. And even if you really want the outcomes at the end of the day, you might also want to make sure that when you're doing the tedious task that gets you closer and closer towards the goal, you are just as motivated as you might be when you're doing the tasks that you really truly enjoy. So the whole point here, the whole process today is to share with you the newest version of our packages, and for the new year, in the spirit of giving, we're making sure that everybody who has purchased our templates before or are currently ongoing patrons are able to access these benefits for themselves. So without further ado, I'm really happy to make sure that you guys can understand what we're talking about, share with you everything that we've been working on, and also put on the final touches together with you to make sure that everything that we're doing is something that is useful, reasonable, and make sure the user experience is the best it can be to make sure everyone can utilize our templates properly. So without further ado, let me share my system. And I see there's a question already from Nick. It's been 4 months since you have been a patron and you got the super package. You don't know where to check what's new. This is what we're going to talk about today. How to make sure that you can find out all the resources, especially if you want to figure out what's new, what's coming up, what is there that you might need to learn from our continuous sharing. This is how we're going to be doing it today. So thank you for asking that question, and we'll make sure that that's well answered throughout the course of this live stream. Okay, without further ado, let me share my screen. So let me make sure my screen is here. Oh, let me double check that. Here we go, and then here we go. Sorry about that, guys. Seems like there's a little bit of things I need to edit. La. Perfect. Awesome, guys. So again, super happy that you guys are here. Really excited to talk to you guys about the new version of our super package, which is now recalled L-Control. And again, I'd love to hear your feedback in the chat. Please make sure you talk, because it's really important for me to make sure that everything that we're building now is something that, oh, you know, this makes sense for me. This is how I would structure, this is how I would think about it. And just making sure that we have a very good conversation about how that all goes. So the whole idea is that the system should grow together with you. L-Control is a system that, you know, we're giving you the building blocks of how we think about systems, of how we think about being intentional and gamifying your life. But at the end of the day, this system is your system, and you need to figure out what works for you. Knowing what works for me and what works for the rest of the community is great, but what's most important is that you know what works for you. You know your own system, your own life better than most. So it makes sense that you have to figure out how to customize it. So a lot of the themes today is about how do we teach you how to customize the system, how do we teach you how to add on new additional layers, additional blocks where you want to add things, and of course how you would then take away stuff if you don't need it, right? There's a lot of things that are helping you organize many parts of your life which you may not need, right? And that's fine too. And how do we help you through that? That's important to know. So let's get started. Again, the L-Control system intends to build intentionality into all aspects of your life while providing you with the tools to utilize gamification to make the work you do enjoyable and fun. We've talked about that a bit before. So we try to keep it very simple. We try to keep it, you know, 4 very quick steps of how to use. First, you duplicate the page. Obviously right now I'm in edit mode, so you already see that I have the toolbar here. But of course, if you have the link and you have just subscribed to us, you'll be able to see a duplicate button at the top right of the screen. Generally, you want to duplicate the entire page just because there's a lot of dependencies. If instead you say, hey, I only want to like the success plan, you click into it and you duplicate that page, generally you'll run into problems just because when you do that, you might lose the relations that are perhaps inside your knowledge hub, right? Which would connect inside your success plan, and that wouldn't be any fun for anybody. So just make sure whenever you start on this page, you're clicking the duplicate button in the top right to make sure you get everything that you need. We also have some new community resources that you can get by joining our Notion team plan. This is completely free. It's just a link that helps you get directly added into our Notion team plan, which gives you a lot of access to databases and a system handbook that you'll be able to use to learn more about our system. And let me actually open up the handbook. So if we're on the handbook here, let me open a new page and click the link. So just to show you guys, this is how the handbook will look like. Basically, we give you 4 quick things that you can try to do, and then what you can do past that to make your system work more for you. I'll dive into this really quickly later on, but let me just show you the rest of the system first. But basically, we have a very comprehensive handbook now that will help you, guide you through the system as you need to use it and as you want to see what's coming up, and you know how other community members are using the system in their own way. Because I think I was talking to Travis, another wonderful member in our community, earlier this week, and he was mentioning that it was so helpful for him to learn from other people like Alyssa, or learn from Dean, or learn from even Shania, how they're using the system, and then using that knowledge of how they particularly think about success planning, and then using that to apply in his own life or his own business, stuff like that. So very helpful. Of course, you can always join our Quiz 3 family to be supported on your growth journey, and you can always start a conversation at our help desk if you have any questions. So right now, if you click this link, just to show you guys, we have recently moved community spaces or community apps into this place called Gilded. And once you apply, once you get accepted into our community, you'll be able to access a lot more channels than just these. But of course, the main channel for you, if you're looking for help, is to go to our help desk, where you can ask questions and get the feedback and response that you need. There's a lot of useful tips and tricks here. And also, just to add on to, the handbook is an editable page for anybody in our community to edit and add to. So for example, if you decide that, hey, you have a very particular way of using the areas of competence that you'd love to share with the community, this is how you can edit this page and give us the feedback there. So let's go back to this. Of course, one big question that everybody's asking me is like, how do we delete these intro blocks? Of course, when the first time you come in, these are very useful tips and tricks. These are very useful for you to get started. But then once you are familiar, how do you get rid of these blocks? So a step 4 is delete these intro blocks and get started on your growth journey. So you can just drag like this, and you can delete them. Very simple like that. Also, one thing to note is that I've been keeping track of the versioning through different dates. So for example, this version is going to be released today after this live stream. It's 2021 Jan 01. But of course, and you can use this to kind of gauge which system you're on. And as you guys will very well know, the L-CTRL system will be updated once every quarter, just to make it very easy for you guys to continuously update and make sure that you have a chance to continuously see what's you're missing from the previous package and the next. So like what Nick was asking. And yeah, Nick, I see that you have a question there too, where it's important for you to learn how to build in gamification into the system. I completely agree. And that's the intention behind how we're restructuring the system and making sure that, you know, the things that you want to learn, the things that you want to know how to use are very available for you. So yeah, great question, and thank you for asking. Again, everybody feel free to ask. Very happy to make sure all the questions are answered today. Right. Another thing to just quickly give a quick tip for you. We notice a lot of people who are not so familiar with Notion. Don't really understand what this little arrow is. It's just a toggle. So basically, when you click on this, you can easily expand additional information. The really beautiful thing about toggles is that it also hides the whatever is inside the toggle completely from the page, which means that you don't have to load any extra resources when you're loading into a big page that might have like a lot of different databases, and it makes it so that it loads a lot faster, especially on mobile. You can quickly go to the resources you need and only expand the section that you need. So very important. Yeah. So let's talk about this. Basically, we've partitioned out the system into the few key things I think are very important for you to come in and know exactly what you need to do when you're starting off with the system. I'm going to go a bit high level here, and then I'll go really deep. So if you're looking to have an overview, this is where you want to listen up, and later on I'll make sure I'll go really deep and also build together a little bit of what I've been thinking about just very recently, because I just like tinkering. So it's been I've always found like some additional optimizations that could very much help us make sense of the system even more and more. So the first thing is I want to help you determine your purpose. So basically, the areas of competence helps you be extremely organized in your approach to how your everyday work and behaviors create value towards your overall life direction. Now, this is a very important concept because most of the time when we're trying to think about our success plan, or even the things that we want to do every day, we're not exactly linking them up to like, hey, in 5-10 years, where do we want to be? Where do we want to improve our lives? How do we see our lives being continuously improved? And who are we going to be, right? What do we believe in? Who are we going to be in the future? So Let me just quickly open this up just to give you a brief of how that looks. But let me expand this to the areas visual. So basically, at the end of the day, you'd like to come up with, maybe 9 areas of life that you want to continuously improve in. And of course, inside these 9 areas, you'll be able to eventually see all the things that you've been able to work on, your goals, your masters and trackers, your skills and talents, everything that's been building up towards your competency in this area, which is why it's called the areas of competence. And of course, the second thing you can do in this areas of competence is now to build out your values, right? What values are you going to be continuously nurturing and growing throughout your life journey? And how are you going to keep track of, for example, you said you wanted to have high integrity. What defines integrity, and how are you building towards, how are you tracking that you have continuously been a very high integrity person throughout all the interactions in your life? So that's where we start, right? We start with your purpose. Then we plan for success. How do we ensure that our goals have clear outcomes for success, and then have measurable tasks that builds towards the results? The most important thing is that you want to continuously consult yourself on what the best possible thing is for you. So let's open this up. And again, I think many people in this community or in our live stream right now will understand what we're talking about in the success plan. But basically, the founder will, we put ourselves into different mindsets when we're trying to figure out our different, can say, progression towards the success plan, towards success you want. So the founder would be the one that comes up with the goals and key results. The manager will come up with your key results and the projects, and the project manager will come up with the projects and tasks that you have to work on. And again, we'll go really deep into this after we finish this overview. Going back to here, is the next step is finding your rhythm. So you want to build consistency towards your goals with consistent daily actions, and you want to also journal daily to ensure that you have that you are meaningfully reflecting, that you are learning every day. So the most important thing here is that I think a lot of us, especially myself, I won't speak for anyone else, but when I first started on the path of productivity and growth, there's a lot of things I was learning every day. I was doing specific daily actions that were leveling me up, whether it be reading, whether it be practicing a new skill, whether it be even eating properly or having meaningful conversations. All these things were things I was doing every day to make sure that I was continuously growing in my attitude and in my aptitude in life. However, most people aren't able to keep track of these things and essentially be able to see, even historically, where are the times that they have succeeded in accomplishing maybe 70% of all the things that they set out to do in a day in relation to their daily quests and in relation to their daily actionable items, the consistent items. And then most importantly, seeing the trends of how you're going through your system, how you're going through, the different things that you need to build consistency in. Are you eating well every day? Are you sleeping well? Are you exercising well? How many meaningful conversations are you having? And how many mistakes have you made, so then you don't make the same mistakes again and again? Or even how grateful have you been for the same things over a period of time? So there's a lot of content inside Daily Quest. I'm going to go into that. But really the whole idea is that finding your rhythm, making sure that you have a consistent routine to fall back on whenever you are finding yourself lost, or even if you're just trying to make sure that, if nothing else, you're making consistent returns or consistent growth throughout your life journey. The next thing after that is then the review cycles, and this is something that was recently added on into our system, I think just last quarter. But the whole idea here is that now that you have your big purpose and you have your success plan, and then you have your consistent daily actions that get you closer to success, then how are you going to refine and continuously work on your on both managing the different types of things you need to focus on in a quarter, in a month, in a week, or even in a day. And then on top of that, what are the successes you've had throughout those different points of time, so that you make sure that when you are going through your life journey, you're continuously iterating and learning from your past successes and mistakes, so that you're making a conscious effort, an intentional effort. Again, everything here in this section is being intentional, but a very intentional effort to make sure that you are continuously progressing in a meaningful way. Now, this is where I'm going to quickly break and say that I know that these 4 concepts are very hard. They're not something intuitive. We're not taught these in schools, and it's been a huge pleasure of mine to work with a lot of our community members, especially, many of which have been very active in our daily calls and our weekly calls, to map out these different areas of life where you just don't think about enough most of the time, and also you need consistent refreshers and reminders of, hey, I can think about my goals like this, and if my goal doesn't have a key result, then it's probably just a dream. I don't have any actionable way to reach that goal, or any actionable outcome that would indicate that I am successful in that goal, so therefore I'm always going to be chasing, and so on and so on. So having a community of people that are able to support you in this endeavor is very important. So especially now, when we're starting out in the new year and trying to just make sense of what we want to accomplish. So one thing that we're doing in the community is we're doing live cohort sessions where if you want to go in and talk with other members that are just starting out with the system, or even if they have been very familiar with the system before already and they're just trying to also replan out in 2021, we've created a space for you guys to have these kind of meaningful discussions, to have these kind of chats, to work together, to share what you guys know about, hey, these are how my goals look like, these are how my areas look like, or my values even. And this is how we can potentially think about things together. And of course, our members who are joining our course, our level up course that's starting on January 4th, our wonderful students will also be inside those cohort sessions just to share what they've learned inside our lessons and make sure that everything that they've learned is distilled over to our rest of the community, so that we're making sure that we're learning more by teaching as well. So just wanted to get that across and say, hey, we get that these things are hard. That's why we expect this to be done through like a whole 4-week period. Of course, you can fast track it however you like, but I do recommend, taking your time, really spending, a lot of intentional thinking on, hey, where am I going? And then how am I going to get there? And then what's going to be the baseline of actionable things I'm going to do every day? And then how I'm going to reflect on my whole life in general as I go through different stages, the different cycles of my life, my weekly, my monthly, my quarterly, and so on. And just to continuously share more, we have 3 more additional things I think are part of the Be Intentional package that are very meaningful to me, at least. The first one is making sure that you are good on knowledge management, so making sure that all the learning that you're doing in your life, you're tracking all of it, and you're conducting a proper reflection on the content you've digested, so you can retain the knowledge and make it actionable. Relationship management is also very important. You stay in touch with the people you care about and don't forget about important moments in their life. And then household management, you can manage your household, meal planners, and anything else. I'll show you some fun examples of what else you can add here to make sure that this works more for you. But yeah, so that's the whole idea about the Be Intentional components. And the whole idea about the make work fun, and I'm going to also do something similar as we've done for Be Intentional and split it up a little bit and give you some certain blocks of different things that we can focus on inside gamification. Again, as Nick was asking, there's a lot of things inside gamification. Which ones are the most useful for you? Which ones are going to be less useful? Depends on the theme and how they work. So I want to make sure that that's captured nicely here for you guys to understand. And of course, also the workspace stuff. So let me just add some content here. Easily understand and manage your system with clear documentation and resources. So two big things here that people really wanted to know and were very curious to find out. The one is like, how does the database structure look like? So I've mapped out entirely what the database looks like, what are all the databases inside our system and how do they fit together, as well as if you want to ever delete data, how do you go in easily and just delete all the demo data that we have available for you to make sure that you're starting from scratch and you don't have to worry about all the different things that are filled out just for your convenience sake and for your understanding. But for now, like but when you actually want to start using the system, you don't need all this data, obviously. So just making sure that you can delete everything as well. And of course, if you want to join a community, this is a useful way to see what you can do here. Again, our whole thing here is that you can acquire knowledge, take action today, and then we make sure you never struggle alone. So yeah, that's a bit of a monologuing about how the system is going to now look and feel like from now on. Just to give you guys a a brief intro into the system. Again, as mentioned in the live stream title, this is a build with me. This is a build. We haven't put the final touches yet, and we'd love to do that together with you in this live stream, because it's very important for us to make sure that, hey, when you were figuring out the areas of competence, what was confusing for you? What can I help you answer? I've been interviewing a lot of our community members over the last few months, trying to understand every nitty-gritty of their frustrations or even their happiness with different parts of the system. And I just want to make sure that even for you guys in this live stream, I can make sure that I can help you as to the best of my ability. And again, I'd love to ask, how can I be helpful? So give me a quick second, gonna grab some water, and then we can get started. So I also wanted to talk a bit about like what's the main philosophy behind the system revamp, and I think that's a very good place to start. So let me open up. I have a page here that I was saving. Cool. So the idea is that once you get into any of these systems, you should understand what are the first principles of any template. For example, if I get into the areas of competence, what the heck is this supposed to do? What will you get from this, right? So I like to say, well, for areas of competence, these are the 69 areas of your life that you like to excel in. And if I'm bluntly putting it, if you die tomorrow, what would you want people to recognize you for, right? So that's where we first start. I want to give you the bare minimum tips and tricks to get started. How would you add a new item, a new entry into the areas of competence? And I want to make sure you can solve 2 to 3 problems on your own. I want to make sure that you can create your new, areas or your new values very easily. And then if you want to have more questions, then go to the support or FAQ database to learn more. So for example, if I go to the handbook now and I say, hey, well, what's the areas of competence? I can learn more information about this. There's videos, there's also examples from other people like Anne, who's been very helpful in our community. She's sharing, what she thinks about the system and how she's been using it in her own life. And of course, there's a lot of content here. It's loading a bit, but definitely making sure that, other people that have a means of using the system and a way that has worked for them, it becomes very easy and very applicable for you to use for yourself as well. So that's like the whole flow and schema of the system. And let me just quickly also add additional details here based on what I think is missing in this content that will help you move further along. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. So how to use, so talk about areas. Ooh, that's a link about areas. And then let's talk about values. So values is here. And let's make this all black. So values, this is where you define what values are important to you, and ensure that all the work you do in your success plan is guided by the fundamental principles in which you choose to live by. And then we also have masters and trackers, which we can explain now. And basically, masters and trackers has always been about how are you going to track your expertise in a certain area or value, and how you're going to track your progression towards gaining a certain level of competency inside that area. So for example, let me just say, a sub area here would be, okay, we have a bunch of stuff. Let's also filter out value, and type is, how about we just say is master, or is tracker. So basically, for example, your skills and talents tracker will track how many skills and talents that you have and are working towards building competency inside your knowledge area. Your fear setting would be essentially a tracker that's helping you track, your progression towards being more fearless as a value, and also your mindset as an area of your life that you want to continuously improve in. So that's also very important. So that's the areas of competence as an example. So now let's go to plan for success. As you guys know, the success plan has been something that we've been always working on for the last many months. I think this has been here since the inception of our system. But basically, how do you ensure that your goals have clear outcomes for success and have measurable tasks that have built towards the results? So we have the founder view, which you would see, again, all the areas of competence that you saw in the previous page all mapped out for you. So everything here is like mindset, career, finances, family, knowledge, etc. And all this stuff is here for you to be easily able to add a new one. So you just press new and you add a new success plan, a new goal, and then you can easily go in and say, okay, well, for my goal to be happy, what's in it, right? What's going to make me happy, and how am I going to, what was my fear that's motivating me to be happy? What are my key results that I'm going to use to measure my progression towards happiness, this goal in my life to be happy? And of course, what are the notes I'm going to make about it as I continuously progress in the pursuit of this goal? So again, very clear, very easy for you to come in and easily add on. Again, the main thing I wanted to add here is, explore the handbook. So I'm going to open up the success plan here. So I'm going to open this as a page, and I'm going to say here, browse the handbook. So I'm just going to make sure that everywhere that we have an opportunity to share more information about this, we have a handbook link for you, very easily for you to access that when you need to. So I'm also going to put a little emoji there. Let's say book, bookmark maybe, page. Let's see if it's in my recently used. Interesting. Yeah, let's just use this for now. Oh, we can use this for now. There we go. That's the one I'm looking for. Yeah, so we can see that we can browse the handbook, and here we go, right? So if you click on that later in the future when you're using the system, you can go and see everything that the success plan can do. And again, you can see both Travis and both Anne, how they share about how the system works. And of course, this database is going to continuously add more value. We're going to add more information, more details into here. So don't worry if it looks a bit empty now. It's going to keep adding in more and more feedback from our community, and even from yourself, right? If you add in content that has helped you based on the videos that has been circulating, and that's also very useful for you to learn more and more and more. Find your rhythm. So this is interesting. So this is for our daily quests, and I'm going to come into here, and this is going to be a very detailed page. So the idea here, and actually I'm going to spend a little bit of time here to rebuild this together with you guys, because I do think that there's a lot here that we could refine. So let me do that here. So let me do not full width. I'm also going to make it so that I follow the fundamental structure that we've been following before. So I'll go into here, and then I'm going to useful views. I'm going to add this here. That's a useful views. And then I'm going to say what you can do to get started. So managing your daily quest will be down here. Okay, so these are the bare minimum tips and tricks to get started. So basically in the daily quest below, okay, I'm going to also move this stuff into a bottom part right here. So managing daily quests, in your daily quest below, change the names of the example habits to provide it to meaningful options for yourself. For any habit with a checkbox, our formula will automatically calculate the completion percentage of your day. Each completed habit is rewarded as a 25-minute task and will count towards your EXP and gold accumulation. If you for gamification. And completing all reflection properties, which generally for me takes 30 minutes a day, which each completing all reflection properties will count towards a 25-minute task reward. And if you add or remove a daily quest, make sure you change the following properties accordingly, both the multiplier and number of daily quests tracked. So we have a formula guide here, as you guys may have known before, and this essentially teaches you exactly how you can, you know, edit and change the different formulas, and to make it work for you and make it easily available for you to say, hey, I don't eat breakfast. Maybe you do intermittent fasting, so you might want something else that would help you trigger a reward in your daily quest that makes it more meaningful for you. Again, everyone's very different, and I acknowledge that, and I think that's very important for you to learn how to edit things for your own self. Okay, cool. And then also, I think everybody has been very curious how you can add new dates to your daily quest. I think this is something that I'm very happy to share with you right now as well, because I feel like there's a lot of, well, I try to make it easy for you. I think there's two ways, right? Again, if you click help, I may run out of days. I try to keep this database populated so that you can easily take the new dates for yourself. So let me show you how this will work, right? So let me delete a lot of these dates right now. So I'm going to go up and delete these things up here. I'm going to delete all the way. Ooh, okay, actually I'm going to do like this. So you guys can see, very easy to drag and drop or drag and delete. I pressed the delete button just now. And now if I want to add new ones, I actually have a spreadsheet that I use to populate. But of course you guys can learn how to use it yourself. Dates. I'm going to just go to my Excel sheet, and I believe it's inside my, let's see, I think it's inside my Dropbox. It's inside my new dates. Thanks, Aisha. New year, new me. Yeah, so let me just make the new dates for you, and I'm going to make them all the way until November, just because it should be for the whole next quarter. Let me do that. It's going to be, I know you're not seeing anything on your screen, and that's fine. I just want to show you how I normally do the dates so that it's very intuitive for you guys if you guys want to add them later on in the future as well, assuming that if you might not want to just duplicate the new package, which I actually recommend, but if you don't, this is how I do it normally, just for your information. So I go into here, I merge with CSV, and then I open up the CSV link here that I have inside my Dropbox, and then I go into new dates. I upload them in. Okay, so you see that there's all the dates here like that, and then I'm going to take this 25-minute task and I'm going to just drag it up like that. Anyway, so basically all you have to do when you want to add new dates to your system, all you have to do is just go into here, drag and drop, like you copy this and you can just copy it into your system. But of course, if you're duplicating our brand new template starting today, then of course you'll have all the dates until March 31st. And again, I don't like to put too many in just so I reduce clutter, but if you want to update that, it's up to you. Cool. So we can see that now we have Jan 1st, Jan 2nd as our options here. If you want to run out of days, you can add more days as we mentioned. You can also change milestones for rewards. So I like to reward myself with gold. And again, this is something that you can change up to you by modifying different properties. And of course, then we have also templates to organize your day. We can do the daily reflections as you start every single day, which then will also help you come up with some meaningful prompts. You can see that if you ever go and let's say, hey, I'm starting, let's do the first, I'll roleplay SEO today. So then if I go into a new daily quest, I can see that these are all things that I'm going to, our new daily reflection. Let it load. And you can see everything that loads for you to easily start off your day, with breakthrough insights, with affirmations, with various planning for your day, and also the opportunities for learning and growth. If you're curious on how to use this, you can see how I normally do my daily quests and daily habits. I have a video I can share. I think it's one of my latest ones that has a very detailed breakdown of how that works for me in my personal day-to-day. But basically, yeah, so that's that. I'm going to undo just so that it's cleaner, and I go back to 0. Awesome. Did that work? No, it didn't. So let's delete that like this. Perfect. Yeah, and then we have templates that you can organize your day, grateful trackers. You can track things you've been grateful for. You can avoid making mistakes twice, so you can come up with different mistakes that you've made, and you can track the different days that you've done them. Again, you can create them here, or you can create them as you're doing your daily quests, which I really recommend. So as you're going through and you're saying, hey, I now have made a mistake about, let's say you woke up late or you made people wait, you add that up, then you can see when was the last time you made that mistake, and you can keep tracking that progress again and again so that you make sure that you stop making those mistakes so often. So that's one step there, and then I'm just going to now go back into the L-Control and show you guys the review cycles. So review cycles, as you guys may know, this one, we've talked about this a lot in our recent live stream, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. But again, the whole idea is that when you come into here, you can easily do your quarterly reviews, your monthly insights, your weekly insights as well. Right now, they're all blank because I just deleted a lot of the demo data. But of course, I can make some more demo data for you guys when you duplicate it so you can see how it works. But the whole idea is that you can see all your sleep, all your outputs, all your words that you've been thinking about, your word clouds, your moods, your habits, everything that you need to know to keep track of how you've been progressing through life. Definitely, that's really meaningful and interesting. And of course, you can add different custom workflows that help you build towards your progression inside each month. For example, maybe every single month you're going to do a Costco run. You're going to buy some, veggies and meats. Maybe every month you're going to do finance management, which I think all of us should, right? So you go in and you tally up your finances, you reconcile your bank statements, and then you may roll up to a monthly view. So these are just ways for you to easily keep track of things that you have to do every single week, month, or even quarterly basis. So everything here is very, very clear, hopefully. And again, if it's not clear enough, you can always go into our system schema, which will keep updated, and you can see more information about each thing inside here as you need it. So everything's very well documented and scheduled out as you need. So again, I see a lot of questions. Let me actually see if I can answer any of them. So Aisha, the days, I just added new days today for the new year. So that's how you can go in and add them. And then we can also answer the, I'll talk about gamification real fast. That's a good question, but I'll answer that real quick. The knowledge management, again, I think you guys may know this, where if you want to keep track of all the things you're learning throughout your different growth journey, so different things you've been learning, whether it be books or podcasts or videos or articles, anything that you're reading, it can easily be stored into here, and you can easily make notes on it based on what you wanted to get out of it, your summarization, what's something that what's your key takeaways from the knowledge, how are you going to store it inside a tool like Remnote or Roam, up to you, and then how are you going to process it, how are you going to remember this content, whether it be through flashcards or dynamic tagging, and etc. etc. So again, these things are very clear, very helpful, hopefully. Let me know if it's not. But yeah, so this is also something that is here for you to go through and understand. And then, of course, relationship management. There's a lot of content here now as well. This has become a huge template by itself for, its progression. So you can see that we have things like a visual contact card now. This is brand new. I think you haven't seen this before, but you can kind of see like a visual contact card for yourself, for your family, for anybody that you want to keep in touch with. And this view is very easy for you to drag anywhere you want and just take it anywhere that you like. That would help you make your own dashboard, and we'll talk about that in a quick sec as well. But for you, you can easily see like your last contacted frequency with different people inside your network, if you should reach out or not, when's the last time you reached out, and it will actually sort for you to see, hey, should you reach out, how long has it been since you last reached out, and what's the last thing that you talked about, so you can re-bring that out in conversation and just have a more meaningful discussion with people that you care about. And also be able to track gifts that you've been sharing with each other, relationship questions that help you understand your relation with someone else, even if they are romantic or non-romantic partners. It's very important for you to keep track of the different things that you've been talked about, and of the feelings that they've inspired in you throughout your different interactions. And me and Abby had a very wonderful live stream about that just 2 weeks ago. So if you're curious about the relationship tracker, feel free to check that out, and that will have a lot of answers to questions that you might have. And then also something called the reciprocity ring, something that we've recently we're recently making more use of again and again, because it's just so helpful in bringing together all your best friends, all people that you want to bond with on a more meaningful level, and ensure that there's a more meaningful conversation and a more I guess wholesome is the word I like to use, a more wholesome way to bond together with people that you care about, and make sure that you have all the means to be helpful for their growth journey and them to be helpful towards yours as well. So that's something that is very meaningful to me. And I want to also talk about the next thing here, which is the meal planner. Again, this is very small things like for household management. If you want to plan out your meals for the week, if you want to have recipes that you have been keeping track of and sharing with your friends and family. Right now, the community is starting to build a global recipe box. That's going to be very cool. Actually, you're going to be able to drag from the global box into your own box, so you can see hey, I really like this recipe from the community, and I want to add it to my own database, and we can show you how that works. And that's very, very cool. I really like that. So actually, next week I'll be building a brand new version of the meal planner together with one of our community members, Mano. So stay tuned for that. That's gonna be really fun. We're gonna be building a lot of new innovations onto it, and it's gonna be very exciting. So back to this. I see that some people have a question. So someone says the Remnote embed doesn't work now. Let me check that out quickly, because that's interesting to me. Let me make sure that works. So if I open up, let's say this one, and I open up the Remnote block, show and hide example block. Interesting. Seems like Remnote isn't working as good anymore. Let me open it up and let me see. Got it. Okay, seems like Remno is having a little bit of an issue for embeds. Let me look into that a bit and see how I can help. Yeah, definitely, I appreciate that. Thanks for letting us know, and definitely hope to fix that in the near future. Okay, cool. So let's talk a bit about gamification, because it seems like it's a question that a lot of people are asking about, especially Nick. So I'm very happy to help answer this question if I can. So let me take a quick water break and then we'll talk about this. All right, guys. By the way, if my voice sounds a bit raspy, I am coming back down with a bit of a cold. So do let me know if you want me to speak up whenever you miss anything that I've been saying. But yeah. So one thing I do want to do here that I'm probably going to do together with you guys right now, because I didn't have a chance to do it before, I do want to plan out exactly what the different types of gamification that you can do inside the package are. So let me explain what that means. There's many different ways that you can motivate yourself to make sure that you are progressing and eagerly chasing after the things that you want in your life. So the first thing that I want to share with you, and again, let's open up the gamification project and let's see how I organize it. So you can have a theme library, you can have, play with friends and family. You can also, it's a bit laggy. You can bring your pets, you can earn your leisure time, you can be motivated to reflect, you can auto earn achievements, you can be supported. Like, there's a lot of things that you can do here in the system that can help motivate you depending on what you need to be motivated by. And Nick has a really good comment, right? Nick says, well, maybe just accumulating gold isn't super interesting to me. I want to know how I can spend it, and I want to feel the feedback when I spend the gold and I get the reward that I have earned myself because of my hard work in the task that I'm supposed to do. Great, completely understand that, and this is why I want to make sure that, hey, there's many different types of incentive structures that can help you make sure that you are eagerly making progress towards what you want in life. And let's break that down right now. So for me, I like to break it down into a few ways. I'm going to start off here because I do like this wording right here. I'm going to take that wording quickly. I'm going to say play with friends and family. Let's see, and then we're going to say here, I'm going to add this one here, track your life progress through experience points and gold rewards, and hold friendly competitions your loved ones on personal improvements. So this one's very important for me, and let me just explain why. It's because for me, I think that the most meaningful parts of any growth journey is being able to share it with a friend or a family. I think the issue that I have, and many of my friends and family had too, when we were trying to just make our own path through life, is that most people only congratulate us when we succeed in something. And I think it's something that we can all resonate with, right? People don't really care when you're making progress towards something because they can't understand the progress. It's very hard for them to know that, hey, what small win have you had in recently? And maybe it's even hard for you to share. So the most important thing here is that we're creating an environment where it's very easy for you to come in and say, hey, these are the small wins that I've been doing recently. These have been leveling me up progressively from level 1 to the 3. These are the projects that's been helpful for me to make progress towards this outcome that I eventually want. That usually people only see the outcome, right? People only see that you've made this big success, in the future, but they don't see the steps that took you closer and closer. So the whole point of the leaderboard, and that's right here, you can see, is to make sure that when you're making that small progression step by step, all those things are being captured. And if you have your other family members or even friends inside your workspace playing this game of life together with you, you can see your wins in real time. So I think that's very interesting and that's very meaningful, at least to me, especially in the context of how, our current society is set up in, how can we support each other in real time with the things that really matter the most in our lives, which should reasonably be our success plan. So I'm going to actually make some new pages here just to make that easy to see. So I'm going to say here, let's make a new page. Let's say leaderboard. And I'll populate that real fast, but I just want to show you the different categories first. So that's play with friends and family. The next thing I want to talk about would probably be about badges. So let's see. I'm going to see how I worded it here to see if I can learn something for myself. Achievements. Okay. Positive reinforcement with achievements. So this is also very interesting because I think that we don't have an opportunity to build achievements into our lives, especially for things like, streaks. If we do 30-day challenges, mostly we're just writing on paper, we're making checkboxes onto like a list, or maybe we're doing like accountability for our friends, but it's not necessarily something we can look back on, a few months down the line and say, hey, I've been awesome in creating this streak for myself. I've kept this streak for 97 times in my life, and I'm going to be on track to hit 100. Like all these things are things that are not necessarily kept track of or even talked about often. So it's very meaningful and important to create these meaningful badges for yourself. So that's very important. So positive reinforcement, leverage positive reinforcement with achievements. So we can also use this let's see, create badges to incentivize yourself to do the things you're meant to do. So I'm going to do a few things here. I'm going to have let's see, actually I'm going to do it this way, guys. I think it's more meaningful. I'm going to make this into a page. So let's do this, turn into page. I'm going to move this into this page. And here is where it's gonna live. Sorry, there's a lot of stuff in the bottom here. And I'll show you what that's all about in a sec. But I'm gonna call this the leaderboard. I'm going to delete this page. I'm just gonna call this a leaderboard. Perfect. And now we have a leaderboard here. I'm also going to have badges here. So let's take the badges part. And let's move this, let's also make this into a page. So I'm going to say that we are turning into page. I'm also going to move this into L-CTRL. And then I'm going to put that, where is it? Perfect. Badges into here. So badges gets put into here. Positive reinforcement, because why I'm splitting it up like this is because I actually think there's more than just badges for positive reinforcement. For example, I also want to put loot boxes there as well. So I'm going to also make this into a page. And this is going to be a loot box. I'm going to also move it into L-CTRL. I'm also going to move the item shop. I might as well. I'm going to turn into page. I'm going to move this into L-CTRL. And then the party members as well, I'm going to turn it into page, and I'm going to move into L-CTRL. Perfect. So you guys want to explain what this is going to, I'm going to explain what this is all about now. so don't worry, I'm going to make sure that this is very clear for you. Okay, so loot boxes though. Where's my loot boxes? Seems like I lost the loot boxes. It's just disappeared. Let's see, guys. Where'd they go? It might have been dropped up here, actually. We'll see. Yeah, I was right. Okay. Perfect. So now inside here, what I want to do is to bring it up into here and show you all the different things that how I would categorize all these different templates. So for example, if I want positive reinforcements, I'm going to use badges. Excuse me. I'm going to use loot boxes. And I'm also going to try to use my item shops because I think that's also very important. Another thing though that we have, it's called the Quick party members, and actually let's rename this. This is called party members. But basically the whole idea behind party members is, and if I open it up, you can see, is that you can earn different companions that are going to join your journey to help you essentially get a bonus in either experience earning, which relates to your tasks, your key results, your projects, everything actually in your success plan will give you experience points earning. And then you can also get things towards your gold earnings, which is mostly your tasks and your projects. So how does this all work? And here's where I start answering Nick's question, is that there's a few ways that you can make this integrated into your life. Obviously, if you already are working on your success plan and daily quest, the idea is that automatically in your leaderboard, you're going to be leveling up and earning experience points and gold rewards just as a virtue of using the system. Now, if you want to learn more about how you can customize things, let's say that you want your experience points to net you more experience if you complete a certain task of a certain difficulty, or you might want the growth to be exponential or anything like that. We actually are having like a very detailed page here inside the schema that would essentially explain to you all the different customization options that are available for this leaderboard. So I'll talk a bit about how it works as well, perhaps just to make it easier for you to understand. But the whole idea is that this is rolling up from a database which is automatically calculating all the different things that are adding up inside your 5-minute task, your 25-minute task, your big wins, and your goals. All these things are calculating together to give you a holistic number that is going to now be added up and becomes the total amount of experience points you earned, which we then would divide and calculate how much levels are you actually at based on the experience points that you have inside the system. So that's a bit of like how it works. Again, the nitty gritty, feel free to look into the handbook. That's why we developed that. That's why it's there. But the whole idea is that we're making it super, super easy for you to go in and evaluate your life progression in a very quantified manner. I think most of us don't get an opportunity to do that because we might be making, a lot of progress towards our goals, but because we don't keep track of that, we don't remember that, hey, we were level like 20, a few months ago, even a year ago, and now we're level 50 or 100 or whatever number you like that means something to you. And I think that's just something that's very, very meaningful. And of course, we have a lot of content that will explain a lot more detail about the leaderboard. Again, I try to have as many videos as I can to explain everything. And if you find that something isn't explained well enough, just let me know and I'll make sure that there's more resources to make it happen. Okay, so I want to also break this up a little bit more because I think it's more detailed than this. Let's see. I want to talk about it in this way. So this is the multiplayer component. This is the reinforcement. Reinforce consistency, maybe, with achievements. Reinforce consistency. Incentivize yourself to do the things you're meant to do. again, I might put a page to encapsulate all of these together. Maybe that's more meaningful, but let me think about that for a little bit. In any case, this is to reinforce consistency. These are all things to reinforce consistency, so you can have all these things to help you out for that. But the whole idea is that these are meant to be shared between all members in your workspace, so you don't need to duplicate these when you want to create, when you want to add on a new person into your system. And I think that's something that I've already talked about extensively in our previous videos, so I'm very happy to share that with you guys later. But the whole idea is that, you know, now you can come out and see, hey, you know, this is what the system can do for me, you know. And let me just divide this up a bit. Right, so you can see, hey, this is what the system can do for me. I'm going to come in, I'm going to learn my purpose, I'm going to plan my success, I'm going to find my rhythm, I'm going to review and reflect, I'm going to be able to manage my knowledge, I'll manage my relationships better, I'll be able to manage my household, wherever it might be. And then finally, if I want to make work really fun, I can have this all calculate into a database which would measure my output, which would measure my my progression in life through experience points and goals. And then finally, I can reward myself by using badges, loot boxes, item shops, or even having party members join my party to make myself feel like I am supported by a community, supported by, you know, something there that's going to help me grow more and more and more. So that's the idea there. I think you guys are also very interested to see the workspace component, so I'm going to talk about that. And of course, there's also a lot of stuff down here that I still haven't talked about yet, which I will in a second. But let me talk about the workspace first. Perfect. Okay, one more quick thing I'm going to do here, just some fine tuning. We also have a lot of dashboards that I'm going to eventually surface out inside this page. I'm still trying to think about what's the best way to show you the dashboards I would recommend, because my problem here is that I'm struggling with one thing, is that, you know, I want everything to be gone through in a linear format, because I think that, even if not linear, you know, you can pick and choose and you can say, hey, I want to focus on daily quests this week, you know, or I want to focus on success plan this week, whatever you want. But I think it's just good to focus on one thing at a time until you are familiar with everything in the system, and then you can manage it all through one dashboard. For example, the Keep It Simple dashboard. Let me just open that up for you guys to show you. So inside our Keep It Simple dashboards, you will recognize that we have a lot of content and detail about, you know, for example, planning your day, you know, managing your energy, keeping loved ones close. Like, these are all different views that I think are really helpful for you to manage things on a day-by-day basis. But I have found it a bit confusing for many of our users and our community members when, let's say, you're still just trying to figure out the areas of competence, or maybe even daily quests, and all of a sudden I'm swamping you, or the system is swamping you with all these different things that you might not want to worry about right now. So with that in mind, I do want to say, like, hey, you know, I will keep the dashboards near the end of it. Like, I'll make it very accessible, but I want you to learn enough about the system and how it works before you go into the dashboard, so that you can even build a better dashboard for yourself that makes sense for you, that is something that you need and you want to leverage in your day-to-day life. So that's something that I want to say. And mentioning, maybe on the bottom you can list alternative realities. Yeah, I think that's something interesting too. I think that could definitely be a way to state it. I think that's interesting. Yeah, I'm totally with you, and I think that's a good idea, actually. But the whole idea is that, you know, you figure out what works best for you. I can't figure that out. You have to figure out what dashboard works the best for you after you figure out how it works in the first place. After you figure out, hey, you know, these are all my goals I have. How would I like to see them presented? You know, what's my today view? What's my tomorrow view? What's my next week view? And so on and so forth. And maybe that's something that I can use as a better gauge, maybe even inside the review cycles. Yeah, that's a good point. Thanks for that. it's like the eye candy. I agree. Like maybe I'll create like some standard dashboards for you. Again, I'll do this like after this stream. I'll make it so I won't spend your time on this, but I will make sure that that's well thought out and built for our family to enjoy. Okay, let's talk about the databases and delete data for a second. So right now, I want to just share this page with you. I think I moved some things around, so some things need help. But anyway, I want to show you, you guys have seen this before, it's not new, and let me just zoom in a bit. But basically you can see like this is how our entire system like kind of integrates together. I think it's a bit complex. I'm not going to want to leverage this too much as we move on. I'd much rather do something here, which is just listing out all the databases here. So you can see like, hey, by different functions, where do they live and how do they live and how do they work? The whole idea is that I want to make it very easy for you to know where things live. And if you ever get lost in, let's say you lost a view of a database, how do you find it back again? How do you come in and say, hey, I've lost so-and-so database. I want to find it out again. I want to bring it back out for me to use. Where do I get it? This is where you're going to get it. So I'm going to build a little bit of this live for you guys to show you what I'm thinking about. And of course, you guys can let me know if it works for you or doesn't work for you. But I really wanted to build this part live because I think it's important for us to all discuss. And another thing here is the system schema, just to show you. With the system schema here, would essentially show you all the different systems that we have that, you can see that it's very comprehensive. What are the different templates we have? What are the notable formulas that we use? What's the different dashboards that we have that you can leverage, you can build on top of. So these are all things that are inside our system schema that are going to help you essentially learn more about the different things that we can do within the system. Right. So let me build this really quickly through our databases. And the way that I wanted to essentially manage this was that, let's talk about it this way. We have our let's call it master databases. I like that. Master databases. And then we have our areas, our sub areas. We call it masters and trackers. Masters and trackers. But basically, the whole idea is that I want all these ones to live in there. So I'm going to do it this way. So for the databases, I'm going to have Knowledge Hub, Success Plan, and Areas of Competence live inside there. So I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to mention page, so I make sure that I don't lose the link to it. I'm also going to copy link. I'm going to mention page, and then I'm going to take the success plan. I'm going to copy link, and then I'm going to mention page. So what happens here is that I'm going to copy all of them in one place, so it's just one easy copy and paste. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Perfect. I'm going to take this whole thing and I'm going to move it inside databases. So basically now we can see all our databases here, our areas of competence, our success plan, and our knowledge hub, very easily put. These are all our different master databases. And then we have a very interesting view that I've already created here. I'm going to pull it out. This is the sub areas. I'm going to move this into the databases. And this is going to be right here. So the idea here is, I want to make sure that you guys know how to use this, is that the master databases are what powers the entire system, in my opinion. These are the most important systems that we have. You know, everything from our success plan, areas of competence, knowledge hub. These are all very important things that I think make the backbone of our system. I would also actually add now that our daily quest has become the backbone of our system as well. So I'm going to add that into there also. Previously, it was more considered like a tracker, which it is, don't get me wrong, but I want to make sure that it's well recognized as like the main thing that you should learn if you're ever getting into our system. So the master databases would be here. And then what happens here is that if you have any new systems that you want to add and link into the entire workspace that we have, you can just add them into the sub areas as a master or tracker. Again, as I mentioned before, the way that masters and trackers work is that they should ideally be helping you make a meaningful progress, or helping you track meaningful progress towards some of your areas in life that you want to improve in, or values. Or it should be a way to measure your success in achieving those different areas or values that you have defined for yourself. And of course, encapsulating your best knowledge about each of those things also. So this is very easy for you to easily add more and more systems into your database as you see fit. Again, that's something for you to learn and see and eventually add on to as well. The next thing is that I want to share with you let's see, I want to show you this thing. Okay, so the delete data, I'm also going to show you. I'm going to build this quickly live, and again, it's very easy. That's why I really like to do it with you guys. So I can show you the full width here, delete data. Basically, what I'm doing here is I'm going to show you all the different databases inside our system. So I'm going to create link database here. And you can see how you can delete everything. So I'm going to show properties, and I'm going to hide everything here, and I'm going to show you how exactly we can delete everything that you need. So you can easily see that you have all these different areas of competence, and these are everything from, like, you know, your trackers, your masters, your areas, your values. Everything is here. And let me actually just show you. Let me show you the type. Perfect. So everything's here, right? So how would you delete the data? So let me show you a quote block here. Delete. You can easily clear out all the data, all the demo data that we have provided for you in each of our templates by highlighting multiple rows that you want to delete, and then pressing delete on your keyboard, right? So this is for the areas of competence. And again, if I want to only show maybe the first 10 pages so that we don't populate too much of this. And then we have our success plan. So I'm going to copy that. We're going to create a link database. Again, I'm creating this so you don't have to. It's going to be very easy for you now to just delete things in your own right. But I'm creating properties, showing first load 10 pages. I'm also going to not need to see everything here. So I only want to see probably the type. And again, you wouldn't want to use this view to add new stuff, but you could. But I would just use this as a way to delete things that, if you want sure that where everything is or how everything is, this is how you can go in and clear things out. Another thing that I'm going to show you as well in a sec is how do you migrate content from your old database. I think that's something that a lot of people are very confused about, and I want to make sure that we have a live stream that exactly shows you how, but I want to show you like a page that's going to exactly detail you the step-by-step process, thanks to many of our members who have gone through that trial and tribulation already, so I can make it easier for you to do on your own as well. And I know my face is blocking something here in the screen. Don't worry too much about that. I'm just hiding properties. Cool. So basically, once you're here, then you can see like all this stuff that you can delete inside your success plan. And then now we can also show you daily quests. So for daily quests, it's a bit interesting because there's so many databases within daily quests. I'm just going to open this up to show you what I mean. So we have the daily quest itself, which is here. So I'm going to copy link. And I'm going to paste this into here. I'm going to create a linked database. And again, you can see that there's a lot of stuff that populates. Too much stuff in my opinion. And then I'm going to make it 10. And I'm going to hide everything. So again, if you ever wanted to delete all your pages and start from scratch, this is how you can do it. Let's hide everything, hide everything. Hide everything. Oh my gosh, so much stuff. Hide, hide, hide. Hide, 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 hide. You get the point. The whole idea is that you can come to this page anytime you want and you can see all the demo data that we have provided for you and how you can easily delete all of them in one go if you needed to make sure that your databases are clean and even reset your gold values. I think that's very important. So you can see that these are all things that you can delete. And let's load only 10. I think I've done that already. Perfect. So yeah, if you ever come back into this page, you can see like, hey, you can delete everything, all the areas of competence that we've defined that you think that you need to, you don't need anymore. You want to start off from yourself. All the success plan items, and I do agree that we need one master hide button. I think that once we get the API, very easy to do. Something that I think can definitely be done. Right now is a bit tough though. So right now you have to go manually. But yeah, we need one master hide button for sure. Cool. So that's an idea of how delete data will look and work like. I'll make sure that that's there for you guys by the time you have the opportunity to duplicate this package. Another thing I'm going to put here is that if you are migrating from a previous version of our templates, click here. Learn if you are upgrading learn how to migrate your data. So I'm going to link this to a page that's going to explain how to migrate your data. But yeah, essentially like this is the new system, guys. Like again, the whole idea is that the main thing, and maybe I want to put it into text here. I don't know. But essentially, just to recap, like what the whole design principles were for this rebuild is that we want to make sure that you understand what the first principles are, like what will you get out of each part of the system. Like if you don't care about one part, you don't have to use it. That's the main thing, is that we want to make sure you're only utilizing things that you think have value to your life. And again, this system has been so big, so everything, so comprehensive now that you have an opportunity to just pick and choose the nuggets that you want to focus on that are the most valuable to you. So that's something that I would like to make sure that you are very aware of. The next thing is that, like, how can I give you the tools to get started on your own, to do 2 to 3 amazing things that's going to help you level up your system, that's going to help you get started, that's going to make you feel like a superhero. So we provide you with that. So then the 2 to 3 problems that you solve on your own should be very valuable, should already make a lot of impacts to your life. So for example, even the process of figuring out that you have, like, what your areas and what your values are so meaningful, at least in my opinion, that to help you get started. And then for a success plan, being able to know that, hey, things connect because there's a high level goal, which determines your why. Then you have your what, which determines your key results that are making your outcomes towards your goals. Then you have your projects and your tasks, which indicate how you're going to get there. I think that itself is already very, very meaningful. And now, of course, then finding your rhythm with daily quests, etc., etc. So a lot of things that are very, comprehensive and things that I believe can make your life a lot better in terms of helping you be more intentional about the things you do, and making sure that when you achieve something, you're very happy about that because it's things that you actually wanted to do, things that you actually wanted to achieve. And of course, then making your work really, really fun so that you enjoy the process as you go through your learning journey together with our family. So Nick has a question. He asked about the course. What could you learn inside a course? That's actually a really good question. And actually, let me bring up a page for you to show you what it's all about. So I'm going to go to toolbox.cox3.com. So this is our toolbox page. As many of you may have seen recently, we have completely revamped everything. If you open up the level up course package, you can see a bit about what we're talking about here. I'm not going to like read this out, obviously. I'm just going to talk like live about what I think our community members can get from this course. The whole idea here is that I really wanted a way to easily share the first principles of how everything inside the system works, how I think about the best practices behind being intentional or gamifying my life, because I think that the best way to put something into action is to actually know how it works, like in practice, in the core fundamental basics of it. So for example, what someone would be able to do after you go through this course would be able to build any system, whether it be on paper. I still enjoy paper a lot, right? Whether it be on paper or in Notion or in any other tool. Some people even like using spreadsheets, right? If that's your speed. But essentially knowing the nitty gritty of exactly how we can hack our brains to do more, to enjoy the things that we should be doing to make meaningful progression in our lives, and also figuring out what is the thing that we want to do in life, right? Like what is the core facets behind being intentional? So as you can see, like there's a little bit of scrolling here. There's already a whole course curriculum here that's going to be helping you understand like, how you can make your learning actionable, how you can plan out your success plan, how can you use data to make your life decisions instead of using intuition. Again, I think intuition is very good. I think it's protected us a lot of times in our past, but the best thing is that how can you train your intuition from the data that you're continuously learning about yourself through the use of a system like Notion. So again, the whole idea here is that now that you know the fundamental principles behind gamification and being intentional, how can I also give you the tools and the learning on how you can use Notion to put all this stuff together to build a system of your own choosing, of something that you need to use in your life, something that helps you customize and refine and continuously build more, so that at the end you're building your own second brain that you can offload all the hard work, I guess, of memorizing and processing, and you're only using your brain for the intellectual stimulation that you need to match concepts together to essentially level up in life a bit more. Hopefully that made a bit of sense. I'm also happy to talk more about about this, but basically the whole idea for our first bootcamp, and again we've had this in early access for I think around 4 or 5 months now. So in our first batch of students, which I'm very thankful for, by the way, thank you so much. I know a lot of you guys are in the chat right now, so I appreciate you guys for being there. I think we had around 15-20 students for our first early access launch, so thank you guys for being there for that and supporting us throughout that journey. But throughout that learning experience, we realized that the best way to teach each other these concepts, the best way to accelerate our learning, is to do a live session, a live sharing sessions where each of our members are able to talk about, hey, this is how I think about being intentional, this is how I think about the success plan, this is how I think about gamification, this is what worked for me, these are the different things in the item shop that I put in for myself to motivate myself. And that process makes it so much more valuable, and also having a chance to learn together with with me in a more intimate setting instead of just through a video, which I try to do as often as I can anyway. But I think the main value of this course is having that that classroom time together with me and with all the other students who are also very singularly focused on making the system work for them and learning how to be intentional and learning how to enjoy their work that they do, and putting it all together. So that's the gist of it, and I'm really excited to learn together with you guys. I'm really thankful for all the support we've had throughout the last year of building our systems. I think 2021 is going to be an amazing year. I'm looking very forward to being intentional with you all and just really stepping up our systems and leveling up together. I think that's one of the biggest things about our community that I really love and really enjoy. So a huge thank you to everybody that have been here with our journey, and I really hope you guys enjoy the new super package, the new L-control system. It's essentially a distillation of everything I've learned my entire life. So really glad I had the chance to share it with you guys, and also the chance to build it with everybody, that all the people that have put in their effort to help make this the best system possible, to help make the resources that we have a collaborative learning experience, and to everybody in the community that makes sure that we never struggle alone. Thank you all. So I think to answer Nick's last question, you're looking for a book reference on gamification. I don't exactly have a book reference. A lot of my learning on gamification has been because I've been personally very addicted to video games in my younger years, and I've been just so interested in learning how I can hack myself to not be so entrenched by video games and the way that they gamify and take my attention away from things that I should care about, but rather coming up with my own system, my own best practices on how I can leverage the gamification concepts that are so ever present inside social media, inside games, and make that work for me instead. And I think that's been a lot of training from my university days. I studied in neuroscience and psychology at the University of Toronto, so I definitely had a lot of experience studying about the human psychology there. If I ever come across a book, there were a few books that I did reference. If I ever come across that, I can definitely recommend it. I'll have a resources section inside our toolbox for you to take a look. But otherwise, thank you so much, guys, for watching. Please stay tuned for the system. I'll send you guys an email with the latest download package, hopefully within the next few hours, if not a bit more than that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this quick build together session. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful new year and a start of the weekend. Enjoy. Bye, guys.